Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. Uh, my podcast is called, to start off with, this is Arun Gala. My podcast is called Grabbing Coffee with Arun, where I talk to everyday people that are doing interesting things. And to start off with, my guest today is Katelyn Brown. And Katelyn moved from California to Houston, Texas, of course. And I just want to basically ask her about her experience with how she likes Texas comparing to California and all that. To kind of start off with, Caitlin, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Okay, so kind of start off with Caitlin. So what do you think was um, a big change for you from California to say Texas?
Probably one of the biggest changes was the heat, but not just the heat, the humidity, because it gets hot in California, but never the like heavy humidity that Houston has. So that was a big shift.
Does that take you a while to get used to, or?
A little bit. I definitely more than I was prepared for initially, but I am someone who gets cold really easily. So I think I transitioned a lot quicker than maybe other people because I liked the warmth that it gave me.
Right, because a lot of times we're in the cold anyway, because a lot of these buildings have AC, right?
Right. Yeah. So the humidity was kind of a nice, unexpected good change, and then just learning to adjust to it.
So what about like um, people and food and all that? What was that like? Are people more, would you say, like, I know I hear people say that people in New York are a lot more polite, or I don't know.
I feel like the people are really nice in Houston. It's funny because in California it has pretty bad traffic, and Houston also has bad traffic, but people here I feel like use their horns as a form of communication when I've never been anywhere like that where people use their horns so frequently.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
what about like uh, the food scene and all that? You think? I think
I
I'm sure California has a lot of restaurants too, right?
They do have a lot of restaurants, but I feel like here in Houston, it's so diverse in a wonderful way because you can pick a type of cuisine and it's all within 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and there's
Mhm.
not just one option, there's multiple options. And then there's cuisine that you've never had before. We had a friend who is from he's Nigerian, and so he took us to Nigerian food and it was amazing, but we had never tried it before till we moved to Houston.
Because I never tried Nigerian food myself. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a restaurant here on Chimney Rock. But do they eat mostly meat, or what do
It's a
Nigerians?
it's a mix of different things. The time that we went, we let our friend order for us, but I mean a mix of like meats and stews and different rices. So
Right.
similar concept to other cuisines, but with different spices and different ways that they cooked the meats and things like that.
I'm a big
I
fan.
I recommend it. Yes, I recommend it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Indian food because I'm Indian, I guess.
Yes,
So,
Indian food is very good here too. We have gone to places like Aga, which I know people love, and then just a mix of little places here and there that are just as good.
right, right. Also Mediterranean too, right?
Yes, I mean, and then my husband and I really like different Asian cuisines, whether that's Thai food or Vietnamese food, and so there's a really large range of that we found here in Houston too, which is fun to explore.
That's kind of neat to see, like young people like you guys to come to a big, to make that big change to come to a city like Houston and kind of be open to trying new things and whatnot. So, what a-
Yeah.
what about the art scene? What do you think about that? Like the museums and the theater and
I mean, I think it's wonderful. I definitely am I am not an artist myself, but I really appreciate the arts, and so
hmm
it's been fun to go to the museum district and see all the different types of museums, whether it's, the Museum of Natural Science, Fine Art, but then I think that there's a science museum and then like a human anatomy museum. And
right?
I love downtown, all on the different buildings and open spaces. There's some kind of art in different styles or different, like portraying different people. And so that's, I think, is a really fun expression of the diversity that Houston has.
One of my guys, he's from New York, and he says, "God, I don't understand it. This city is pretty quiet on the weekend. I mean, especially downtown. I'm talking about. You know,
Yes, yeah,
that he found that kind of very surprising because I mean, he's coming from New York, right? New York. I mean, this city that never sleeps, right? So,
right. Yeah, that was something that was different because Houston itself is so big, and so it's kind of fun that it has its different pockets or districts, right? So you have downtown that, like you said, is quiet, so it's mostly just people working during the week, but then you have the Heights and you have East Edo and Montrose and all these different
all these
pockets that are fun and to explore, but they're all pretty close too.
right, right. What about do you guys have any future plans to just stay here long term, or
I think so. We have really gotten into running and have built a really great, I mean, that's how I met you, right? Through
right
running. So
community? Yeah,
we've met an amazing community. We've bought a house here, so we're not in any rush to go anywhere new.
yeah. Because I lived in Houston for, of course, my dad recently passed, but he's been here since 60 years. And
Right.
I've been here almost 55. And it's just like, I don't know. Like when I went to visit my sister in North Carolina, my niece wants me to move there, but it just, you know, I'm not used to it because Houston is so big and there it's like there's Durham, there's Raleigh, there's all these small towns. They're all like, it just seems kind of strange to me.
Yeah, it's so interesting how Houston itself is so large, but that is so fun too. We've lived here about 4.5 years, and I feel like we're still finding something new or hearing about something different every week, which is really cool, I think, to live in a place like that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What about like crime and safety and things like that? How is that? Like, let's say if you were to raise a family or something, and
I Go ahead, I'm sorry.
compared to California, how would that be?
I think it depends on the areas, right? It's
Right.
like every place, the areas that you're in. But like for me, for example, I know everyone feels different, of course, but as a female,
hmm
I feel very safe going out on the trails and on the bayous by myself to run or
hmm
bike or things like that. And so when it comes to things like raising a family, that's something that we feel good about right now, that we have this great community and it feels very safe from what we've experienced. So that's encouraging, right?
Yeah. Right. So what about your parents? They're not trying to. Because when my sister first moved to Raleigh, we were trying to get her to come back to Houston as
Yeah.
much as possible. You know.
They definitely miss us and we miss them. It's great that they are able to come visit us and see our life here. I think that they've always been really supportive, but the times that they've come and got to go out and meet our friends and kind of incorporate into the life that we're living, they see it and they understand it on a different level of why we're not coming back, if that makes sense.
Right. But Caitlin, a lot of people that live here, they don't appreciate like, I know some friends that have never been to NASA, they've never been to Galveston. but they seem to look at I know being large and being traffic and all that. Just I don't understand why people don't look at the beauty of Houston. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a hidden gem because when people think of Texas, I feel like the go-to that people think of is Austin, right? Or they think
Right.
of Fort Worth or things like that. But
Hmm.
Houston really is so beautifully diverse and has such a range of things to do once you get here, right? It's not as touristy like Austin, right? But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have great things too.
But if you look at like Memorial Park, like some of the Uber drivers and all that, they don't even know it's there. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
when they drop us off, they're like, "What is what is over here?" A lot of people don't know it's there.
It is, yeah, and it definitely shows the people that take that initiative to explore where they live too, and that's what makes you want to stay, right?
Right, right. What about in general? What about like, what do you think is like the cost of living adjustment? I keep hearing like, like California is like expensive compared to Houston.
California
What?
is very expensive, yes. So that has definitely been a pro to living here because I mean, us being able to buy the house that we did, we're very grateful for it. And it would have been significantly more expensive if we bought the same exact house that we're living in now in California.
Even Houston is going up too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, that's one thing I like about Houston too, because there's like you say, there's pockets of, there's like little India here, there's a little China here, and there's a little
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam here.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah, we just went recently to Chinatown to the main plaza with some friends and had a wonderful day.
right. Um, I'm trying to see what else. So is there like a large running community at in California? I'm sure there is, right?
Not as large as you would think. And I think that that's just because there's so many different terrains in California, whereas Houston,
Mm,
specifically, is so flat. So, like my husband and I, for example, we grew up hiking a lot because it has a lot of mountains around
hmm.
where we grew up. And so coming here, Houston doesn't have that. And so we were looking for ways to get involved, but then also stay fit too.
So
And
you don't miss that because I know my niece. She was born in Houston, but she tells me, "Yeah, Uncle Arun, Houston is so flat, and but you don't miss the mountains and the mountain
we definitely miss them. We definitely miss them a lot.
because it just seems like it's the view is pretty incredible, right?"
It is, yeah, we always joke that our number two things we miss in California, of course, is family and then the mountains. But the community that we have here with running, you, I don't know if you would find that in California. So that's something that was a wonderful surprise that we got here.
Really? Because being a big state like California, I thought they would have a pretty large.
I think that
Com-
they do, but I don't know if they have it in the quantity that Houston does in
hmm,
terms of all in one space, so many different ranges and styles of run clubs. I think they might have, two to four, maybe five at max in a general area, but not near the size that Houston has.
I wonder why that is. Do you
Yeah,
think it's?
I don't know. I think honestly, and I mean this in the kindest way, right? But it's the community is different.
Mm-hmm,
California can be a place you go to visit because it's touristy and there's things to do. But
mm-hmm,
Houston is not as touristy of a place. But when you're here, the community, it
mm-hmm.
surprises you in the best way. So I think that's maybe the difference.
Huh, that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to California. I've seen most of it, and that was a long time ago. But um, let me see. What else was it I was going to ask you? Um, so, Caitlin, what brought you to Houston? What brought you to Texas?
So my husband, his job brought us here, so it was a really good opportunity for the work that he does. And
Hmm.
then I was just finishing my grad school, so it worked out. And to anybody who's thinking about moving or trying to live somewhere else in their at any time in their life, but for me, it was in my young adulthood, I highly recommend it because it gives you so much space for growth that you didn't even know you needed.
Hmm. But overall, what do you think about the job market there in California? You have any idea or how it
It's
is?
definitely, I mean, there are a good range of jobs depending on what realm you're in. So, like, I'm a social worker, so there are definitely lots of opportunities for social work, but I think it can be harder to get into. It's a little more, if you have a more kind of niche specific job.
Yeah, because in Houston, there's so many different industries, right?
Right, right.
Because you got the medical center, you got the oil companies, and you got NASA, and you got. Um, so, you have any idea what industries are in California? Like mainly,
Mm,
what are some big uh,
I mean, I think energy is a big
energy?
one in California, but then a lot more business based, marketing, business. Of
Mhm.
course, they're going to have tech, I would say, there too. That would be another big one is tech.
What about like earthquakes? Are people still nervous about that, or
Yes, that is definitely something that's different. That was a big difference here too. So instead of earthquakes, now we learned how to deal with hurricanes,
hurricanes and
which was
flooding?
never something that we experienced before.
Yeah, because I think what is it, a couple of years ago was Beryl, right? Was it
Just
was it
last year.
no, last year? Okay, yeah, yeah. Because I think every place where you go, and that's what I tell people, everywhere you go, you got pluses and minuses, right?
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think Beryl was 2 years ago. Yeah, you're right. It was a couple
I know
years
it's
ago.
hard it's hard to know because things go, time goes so quickly, right? What
Right, but
about
yeah.
what about like that's one thing I wanted to ask you was, are Californians like more into like sports, or are they into like, do they support their football teams or
I
basketball
think
teams?
it definitely depends on where you live, but one thing that is different is we don't have as big like football in California. So college football is not a thing really. I mean, yes, there's a couple good teams, but in terms of the mass support that you get from college and the fans and everything here is
Hmm.
totally different. So it's definitely not on that level.
Yeah, because I mean, when I went to North Carolina, believe it or not, it's like, man, there's NC State, there's UNC, there's Duke. I'm thinking they're all all these. It's like a big basketball town. I mean, I'm sorry, big yeah, basketball football town.
Mhm.
So that was kind of interesting, I thought, because here you only have UT, you have A&M, you have U of H. Really doesn't count as for some reason they don't people don't look at it as a tier one school, and
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why that is. So,
Yeah, but
so
just in general, the love and the following for sports is definitely stronger, I feel like, because there are bigger teams here too, whereas California only has a couple.
all right, because I know there's a lot. What do you call it? Um, because it's called the San Diego Rams. Is it Los Angeles Rams now, or I forget what they're.
The LA Rams, yes.
Yeah, I think that's all changed, right? So.
I say
Mm.
I am definitely I'm a San Francisco 49ers and Giants fan in terms of that, and Warriors. So we're definitely Bay Area fans for sports.
Oh yeah, Golden State. Yeah, 49ers
Yes.
lost in the playoffs, right? No.
Yes. Yeah, we just had so many injuries this year, so that definitely was what made it difficult.
Yeah, believe it or not, the Texans I was pretty disappointed in. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I'm trying to see what was there anything else that we needed to cover. Or I guess we got it all, huh?
I think we got most of the things we talked about, I think.
Yeah. All right, Caitlin. So it was I don't remember how many minutes it was, but it's fine. So thank you
No, it's
for
okay.
thank you for letting me talk with you. And
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great.
if you guys want to reach me, my email is arun arun dot gaalla at gmail.com. And I'm on Spotify grabbing coffee with Arun. Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.